So these are the tombstones that I got on Amazon. I got a 4-pack for about $17, $18, and they were great. I loved the design, but when I actually got them, they were a lot smaller than I thought they were going to be. So they ended up being more of just a tabletop decoration. But it was a great thing to use to really make my tombstones look really intricately carved without having to do any carving. So all I did was use some Gorilla Glue and glue it to the front piece of one of the pieces of foam board. Now, to make the tombstones a little more substantial, I actually ended up using 3, I think it was like 1/2-inch pieces of the foam board and glued them together with Gorilla Glue. But one thing that you want to take a look at here that I did was I took a couple pieces of electrical conduit, or you could use 1/2-inch PVC pipe, and I cut some divots in the foam and then embedded it inside the foam so that to install the tombstones in the grass, all I need to do is put in a couple pieces of rebar, pound it into the ground, and then just slide it on top. The next step involved making the tombstone look really weathered. And to do that, I did a combination of cutting cracks through it with my X-Acto knife, carving out little chunks and pieces. But overall, what gives it this really, really great creepy look is if you take a heat gun and you spray the tombstone down with water and you use the heat gun, it will actually melt it in places and really give it that bubbled, old, pitted look that you want for these creepy tombstones. Now, another option you could use if you don't have a heat gun is acetone. Acetone is what you use to remove your fingernail polish. Use it sparingly though, because it really burns through. It gives a nice look, but you'll want to use it really carefully. Once it was all heat gunned and carved, my next step was to paint it all over with gray Drylock. It's a weatherproofer concrete paint. It's great if you can find the gray because tombstones are gray. It helps to weatherproof them, but it's also a great base to start applying your paint techniques. So the paint technique that I used was to create a wash with the acrylic paints, which just basically means you're taking a little bit of acrylic paint and mixing it in some water. And then you just start to drip it down just let it drip down the tombstone. And if it gets too heavy in spots and it looks too drippy, have a spray bottle with water handy, because you can spray the tombstone and help it kind of spread out and look more natural. And it was really just doing layers of like black and gray and green and brown, all in those natural tones, just until you get the look you're looking for. So overall, I was really, really happy how these tombstones turned out. If you would like to see a little bit more detail, especially on the paint wash technique, check out the Wicked Maker video that I will post in the description. Thank you, Wicked Makers. This is where I got my inspiration for the painting, and they do a little bit more detailed carving on their tombstones, so you get to see that as well. Hope you found this tutorial helpful. So what are you going to make this weekend?